It was my birthday party, the one night I expected to feel seen, celebrated, and secure after years of compromise and quiet effort. I arrived slightly late, smiling to myself, imagining candles, laughter, familiar voices calling my name. The moment I stepped inside, that image shattered. On the dance floor, under soft lights and careless music, my wife was holding her ex close. Not awkwardly. Not briefly. Her hands rested comfortably on his shoulders. Her body pressed into his like time had never passed between them. They moved together easily, laughing, whispering, completely absorbed in each other. Guests surrounded them, pretending not to notice, some watching in silence, others looking away. No one saw me yet. I stood near the entrance, holding my jacket, watching my marriage unravel without a word. My heart didn't race. My chest didn't tighten. Instead, a deep calm settled inside me, heavy and undeniable. In that moment, I understood something clearly. Confrontation would only turn my pain into spectacle. Shouting would give her control. Begging would cost me dignity. I stayed still, watching, until the truth felt complete. Then I made a decision that would change everything that followed, quietly and without permission. I didn't step forward. I didn't interrupt the dance or clear my throat to announce my presence. I simply turned around. My movements were slow, deliberate, final. As I walked away from the dance floor, the music continued behind me, unaware of what had just ended. With every step, something heavy lifted from my chest. People began noticing me then. Conversations faded. Laughter softened. A few guests watched in confusion as I passed them. My wife still hadn't seen me. She was too comfortable in her moment, too confident that nothing could touch her. I walked past the table where my birthday cake sat untouched, candles already lit, waiting for someone who would never return. I didn't stop. I didn't look back. Silence followed me like a shadow, louder than any words I could have spoken. At the door, I paused for a brief second, not out of doubt, but out of awareness. This was the last moment I would choose dignity over explanation. I opened the door and stepped outside, leaving behind music, lights, and a celebration that would soon collapse under the weight of what I had refused to say. Outside, the night air felt cool and grounding, like reality finally catching up. I stood still for a moment, listening to the muffled bass through the walls. I expected anger to arrive. It didn't. I expected regret. It didn't come either. What I felt was certainty. I took out my phone and turned it off completely. Whatever happened next no longer required my participation. Inside, things were already changing. Guests had started noticing my absence. Someone asked where I was. Someone else glanced toward the door. My wife finally realized I was gone. She stopped dancing abruptly, scanning the room, confusion replacing confidence. Her ex stepped back instinctively, sensing something was wrong. She pushed through the crowd, panic growing with every step, but by the time she reached the entrance, I was already gone. That realization spread quickly. The music continued, but the energy collapsed. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. People avoided eye contact. The party didn't end officially, but emotionally, it was over. My silence had done what confrontation never could. It forced everyone to sit with the truth without distraction. The absence of noise became the loudest moment of the night, and nothing felt the same after that. My phone powered on briefly despite being switched off, flooded with missed calls and messages. I didn't read them. I didn't need to. I knew the pattern well. Confusion first. Panic second. Regret last. Friends later told me what happened after I left. My wife stood alone near the dance floor, trying to laugh it off, but no one laughed with her. Guests began making excuses to leave early. Someone quietly suggested stopping the music. The candles on the cake burned down without being blown out. Her ex slipped away unnoticed, unwilling to stay where consequences were forming. My wife called my name out loud, her voice shaking, but the room answered with silence. People didn't confront her. They didn't defend her either. They simply watched. The party dissolved slowly, awkwardly, without drama. No shouting. No accusations. Just the heavy realization that something important had ended. Silence turned out to be crueler than anger, because it left no room for excuses. By the time the last guest left, The decorations felt meaningless. The celebration meant for my birthday had become a moment everyone would remember for the exact opposite reason. And I wasn't there to explain a single thing. The next morning, messages poured in from friends and family, all asking the same question. Why didn't I confront her? The answer was simple. Confrontation invites argument. Silence invites truth. I didn't owe anyone a performance. My wife eventually reached me through a mutual friend, asking to talk, to explain, to apologize. I agreed to meet days later, not because I needed answers, but because closure requires calm. When we sat across from each other, she cried immediately, saying she never thought I would leave like that. That sentence told me everything. She believed I would always stay, no matter what I saw. I told her holding her ex that closely wasn't the betrayal. The betrayal was how natural it looked. She said it meant nothing. I replied that what feels like nothing to one person can end everything for another. She asked if we could fix it. I told her some moments don't break relationships instantly. They redefine them permanently. Walking out wasn't punishment. It was acknowledgement. My silence wasn't confusion. It was clarity finally choosing itself without asking permission. In the weeks that followed, life became quieter. People chose sides quietly. Some apologized for not stepping in. Others admitted they'd noticed warning signs long before my birthday. I listened without resentment. Information didn't hurt anymore. It confirmed what I already knew. My wife tried to rebuild trust with words, but words felt weightless now. She asked what I felt that night. I told her the truth. I felt invisible. And invisibility kills love faster than anger ever could. That truth stayed with her. For me, the dance floor stopped replaying in my mind. I stopped questioning myself. Walking away without a word became the moment I chose dignity over explanation. Some birthdays are remembered for gifts and laughter. Others are remembered for clarity. That one became mine. It marked the end of pretending and the beginning of self-respect. Silence didn't erase pain, but it gave it direction. And direction made healing possible. I didn't rush decisions. Clarity doesn't demand speed. It demands honesty. That night gave me both, and I never looked back. People often think strength is loud, aggressive, dramatic. It isn't. Strength is restraint when humiliation is offered openly. That night, I didn't ruin my birthday. I reclaimed it quietly. I didn't fight for attention or sympathy. I removed myself from disrespect. Silence forced everyone there to sit with what they saw without distraction. It denied my wife the chance to rewrite the moment as a misunderstanding. It denied spectators the thrill of drama. Most importantly, it preserved my dignity. Walking away taught me that boundaries don't require speeches. They require action. The calm exit did more than any argument ever could. It turned a moment of betrayal into irreversible truth. From that night forward, I stopped explaining myself to people who didn't protect me. Silence became my filter. If someone didn't understand it, they weren't meant to. My life moved forward without chaos, without shouting, without revenge. Just certainty. That birthday ended differently than planned, but it gave me something far more valuable than celebration. It gave me clarity that would shape every choice afterward. At my own birthday party, I watched my wife hold her ex close on the dance floor like nothing else existed. I didn't confront her. I didn't shout. I didn't make a scene. I turned around and walked out without saying a single word. What happened after I left changed everything forever. Not because of drama, but because of silence. The party collapsed without argument. The truth stood exposed without explanation. My absence spoke louder than anger ever could. That night didn't end with candles or wishes. It ended with clarity. And clarity, once it arrives, changes everything forever.